Dana.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so honored to have you in our first In the Know series. I thought it was really important to bring you on so that the people who know and love you can get a little bit more of you, and the people that have yet to be introduced can, get a taste of who you are. And I wanted to start with a real quick summary of your life and work, which you were an amazing dancer, many years with San Francisco Ballet as a soloist. And then more relevant, you have been with SFDanceworks since the inception in 2016, both dancing and had your first solo work, Portrait, which was a solo that then became a film and traveled the world in festivals with amazing piece. I loved seeing that. You were also a great choreographer. You choreographed for Washington Ballet, Ballet Met, Columbus, Cincinnati Ballet, Ballet Ohio, multiple times with the SF Ballet training program, ABT Studio, and the list goes on. You won the Princess Grace Award. You, in 2021, were appointed interim artistic director of SFDanceworks. And in 2022, you became full artistic director. Your season 5 was sold out shows, critical acclaim, amazing programming. And I think the Bay Area is so lucky to have you. And we're gearing up for season 6. So just off the bat, quickly, how can people get involved?
Follow us on sfdanceworks.org. That's our website. Go to our Instagram page, SFDanceworks. Email dana.genshaft@sfdanceworks.org or info@sfdanceworks.org. And that's the best way to find us.
Perfect. And all of that will be linked. Of course. I'm especially grateful that you're taking the time, seeing as you are currently in Columbus, staging a new work for Ballet Met that is set to premiere on March 10th, which is very exciting. How do you feel being a choreographer has informed the direction that you're taking with SFDanceworks?
Great question. First, I want to say that one of my favorite things I've done in the past year was be a godmother. Baby Sai.
Yes. More on that to come.
Yes. And how incredible it is to have incredible professionals that are also friends of mine to help me out with SFDanceworks. So thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
I think, as a choreographer, I've become very humble in that I understand that it's a difficult thing to create a work and to lead a group of people, organize a group of people, and it's an artful endeavor. And it always mystifies me and amazes me to see the final product and how artists get to where they're going creatively, but also what it takes to lead in a positive and holistic way. So I find both of those things really interesting, and that's what inspires me to take on this role, is to see sort of the other side, not just what happens with what ends up on stage, but the process, and creating and facilitating that space for other people, and hopefully having a positive sort of influence on the process.
Well, I think your generosity and just kind of that openness really came through in season 5, and you could see how invested the dancers and choreographers were, and it I think that was a testament to what you're trying to build. I also feel like you view dance as multifaceted and evolving. You yourself have created several films. I mentioned Portrait for SFDanceworks. You've done music videos for George Harrison. You've collaborated with musicians like Pink Martini. You've done all kinds of projects that aren't purely formatted for stage. Evidence of It All was an interesting project for DanceWorks recently. Can you speak a bit about that?
Sure. Well, Evidence for It All, I really had nothing to do with, and it was a fantastic success. I have to say that I had nothing to do with. But I think Laura O'Malley, who is a choreographer and former director of SF Danceworks, I think her and Brett, that was under their direction and producing kind of oversight. And that was at a very difficult time during COVID when everything stopped, and miraculously they were able to produce an incredible film with Drew Jacoby and her team. And from what I understand, Drew, really kind of stayed true to her artistic vision, and they came up with a very high level product. That film, I don't think has been seen very much. Neither has Portrait, that was made just the year before. So those two films definitely need to circulate more for our audiences, like in person. So that's something, that's a goal of ours. But definitely just recently, from reaching out to energize our supporters and just reaching out to folks directly via email, I'm still surprised to know how many people are not actually going to live shows. I've had a lot of people say, this is all great and well, Dana, we'd love to support you, but just so you know, we're not even going to performances for various reasons. People have in their lives that they're not able to see a show, and they're so grateful for digital works. And so just because COVID is over, not really over, but just because we're past the sort of sensitive part of it, it doesn't mean that we should end our initiative with digital works. And so I hope that we can continue to foster that and develop that more.
Absolutely. And I think it's, like you said, it's nice, even though they were done a few years back, to be able to kind of bring them to the people who haven't been able to experience them either in person or digitally. I think SFDanceworks really fills a void in the contemporary dance scene and space here in SF, and the way that you so inventively blend historical contemporary works that even I think the most, bunhead people haven't been able to see in person, with new emerging choreographers, many of them local, and pieces that are at the level of the top tier ballet companies. I think it's really ingenious that you're able to kind of bring this blend of work. How do you source programming?
Great question. Just first off the bat, I did not come up with the mission statement for SF Danceworks. I just totally bought into it from day one. It was an opportunity for me as a dancer to try completely different rep that at the time wasn't offered where I was dancing. And yeah, so I didn't come up with it, but I bought into it. And I feel when I was in the position to keep SF Danceworks, kind of to see if I can keep it going, I just felt like it was important to really dive back into the mission, stay close to the mission, because it is such a beautiful and generous vision of looking to past masters, right? Whose shoulders we stand on. Like we borrow steps all the time, right? I mean, nothing is ever really created. It's all about how you look to the past and edit and reframe it in a way, and aesthetics change and values change and all sorts of things change, but it's not that you're going forward that you're necessarily more visionary. Sometimes going back is
Mhm.
more visionary than going forward. So time is really interesting in that way, and it just means that it is our duty to pull from the past, take the lessons that we know. That's for ballet, that's for modern dance, whatever avenue you're in, and push it forward and offer it to the next generation. So I just happen to find myself in the position that I'm supporting very much this project because I really, really believe in it. And so yeah, so the way I curate is really to study. I go and I dive into all of the things that I love, and I try to dig and find, I dig into history and I research and I find things and I ask questions, and I'm in a position of being a student. So, and then I ask, has this been seen? Does anyone else know about this? Would this be interesting to our audience? And try to find connections. And yeah, so it's really, really fun. It's a fun process.
Yeah, I think it is a special talent that you have. And how do you feel, I guess, past and present, but how do you feel like DanceWorks is different? Is it the rep? Is it the mission statement? How do you feel like SFDanceworks differs from other companies in the Bay Area?
I mean, SFDanceworks embraces it's a repertory company, which in itself already kind of sets itself up a little bit different from a lot of the single choreographer companies in the Bay Area. And then having this element of past, which allows us to look into classic modern dance history and see how that blends into the influences of ballet, and how all these different influences kind of come together to make contemporary dance. What is contemporary dance? And not contemporary ballet, right? Because there's a difference. There's contemporary ballet, which just means new ballet. We're not trying to see what is new in ballet. We are trying to see what is this idea of new period in dance. And so it's a little bit broader. So it just allows us to sort of take a different space, occupy a little bit different space, which is just different from what some of the other companies do that are focusing on point shoe work in particular. And having the historical perspective, I think maybe that's more common in New York City, but here not as much. So that's what we do.
Yes, that and much more. But I mean, you're
That and much more.
very humble, which I think, I think that you really fill the role of artistic director so easily and effortlessly. You seem to be a really great mentor to the artists, which I'm including the dancers, the musicians, costume, everyone. I think you view everyone as a collaborator, which is also very important and unique. You champion local emerging choreographers, and you have a really holistic view. What are some of your long-term goals for DanceWorks?
Well, I just want to be a little extra humble in that intentions are one thing, and in practice, we're not perfect people. And I am just very new at this, and I'm learning every day what it means to, be of service and to be equitable, and to, what are things that I could do better. Like that's normal for anyone who's in the position to lead. So I thank you, but I'm also not a perfect person at all or a perfect leader, but I'm trying. I do have good intentions. So hopefully those I keep improving. So my long-term goals are just to get better at what I'm doing. I suppose the bigger picture though really is to give SFDanceworks stability, to take it from something that might happen every summer, if we're lucky, to get the support, to have a long-term strategic goal, have a legacy fundraising initiative where we know that we are really setting ourselves up for the next 5 years. Because right now what we're doing is we finish our performances in July and we start from zero. And should I not be in the position that I'm in now, the next person who will be is going to have a very difficult time. So we need to figure out how we're going to give this company, we can be consistent and we can set ourselves up just a little bit better every year so that we can keep growing on this mission. And we already have such a great start, but to really solidify is going to take the entire community to stand behind us. We need everyone who believes in us to really come forward and support. So that's what we need right now.
That is so true. And I think that, it's such a great community of like-minded people that hopefully will step up and be able to help one way or another and become part of the DanceWorks family.
We have a big support group. It does feel like a family. And so I'm really confident that we'll get there. Yeah.
I mean, for sure. And I mean, this has been such a joy to spend time kind of getting your thoughts on all things dance and DanceWorks, and especially during this busy time for you. So I'm so grateful. One last very quick question, very off topic, but what is your favorite candy?
I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but they're the little gold candies, Ferraro Rocher, I believe. And
Yes,
they come
yes.
in layers of
Yeah.
like little nutty things on the outside, and then there's like a crust, and then there's an inner filling, and then there's a nut.
Mhm.
If I ever come across them, I just take my time and go layer by layer until I get to the nut. It's a very strange experience. I love it. I love them. They're so good. They're still so delicious. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dana. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Stanford, mom, prima, like everything. Incredible friend, incredible mother, incredible wife. Just thank you for filling my life with so much joy over the last few years. And thank you for doing this interview.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I can't wait to see season 6.